Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about a battle most Americans have never heard of, yet the men who fought there never forgot it. In September of 1944, U.S. Marines stormed a tiny coral island in the Pacific called Peleliu. Commanders believed the island would fall in 3 days. Instead, it became one of the bloodiest and most psychologically devastating battles in Marine Corps history. Veterans later called it unnecessary, miscalculated, and a nightmare without purpose. Over 1,200 Marines were killed, and more than 5,000 were wounded, on an island barely 6 miles long. What shocked the Marines wasn't just the heat, the terrain, or the casualties. It was how completely American doctrine failed against the new Japanese way of war. This is the story of the forgotten battle that shocked the U.S. Marines and changed how America fought the Pacific War forever. Peleliu was part of the Palau Islands, located east of the Philippines. In mid-1944, U.S. planners believed capturing the island was essential to protect General Douglas MacArthur's upcoming invasion of the Philippines. Japanese airfields on Peleliu were considered a threat to American supply lines. Intelligence estimates suggested the island was lightly defended. About 10,000 Japanese troops, poorly supplied and expected to fight to the beaches. Admiral William Halsey later argued the invasion was unnecessary, but by then the operation had already been approved. The Marines of the 1st Marine Division, veterans of Guadalcanal and Cape Gloucester, were confident. They believed Peleliu would be another hard fight, but a short one. They had no idea the Japanese had completely changed their strategy. On Peleliu, the Japanese abandoned suicidal beach charges. Instead, Colonel Kunio Nakagawa prepared a defense based on attrition and psychological exhaustion. Over 500 caves, tunnels, and reinforced positions were carved into the Umabrogal Mountains, later called Bloody Nose Ridge. These positions were nearly immune to naval gunfire and air bombardment. When Marines landed on September 15, 1944, the beaches appeared quiet. Then the island erupted. Artillery, mortars, and machine gun fire cut through landing waves. The coral sand reflected heat upward. Temperatures exceeded 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Water ran out quickly. Men collapsed from heat stroke under fire. For the first time, Marines faced an enemy that refused to die quickly and refused to surrender. The battle's heart was the Umabrogal, a maze of jagged limestone ridges. Marines advanced yard by yard, sometimes losing entire platoons for a single hill. Japanese defenders would allow Marines to pass, then attack from behind. Flamethrowers, grenades, and bayonets became standard tools of survival. Casualties were catastrophic. The 1st Marine Regiment suffered over 70% losses. Some companies were reduced to fewer than 30 men. Veterans later said Peleliu felt less like a battle and more like being hunted. The fight shattered the belief that experience guaranteed survival. Unlike earlier battles, Peleliu broke Marines mentally. Sleep deprivation, constant sniper fire, and the stench of death took a heavy toll. Corpsmen were overwhelmed. Men drank from contaminated water sources. Some collapsed mid-sentence from heat and exhaustion. Combat fatigue reached levels not seen before in the Pacific. One Marine officer later wrote, "Peleliu was where we learned that courage had limits, and the human body had even more." The island was officially declared secured after 2 months. But scattered Japanese resistance continued into 1947. After the war, historians and commanders questioned the invasion. The airfield proved largely unnecessary. Japanese aircraft never mounted the threat planners feared. The Philippines invasion succeeded without interference from Peleliu. Admiral Halsey later stated the operation should have been canceled. For the Marines, this realization was devastating. Thousands had died for ground that may not have been needed. Peleliu became a lesson written in blood. Intelligence failures cost lives. Today, Peleliu is rarely mentioned alongside Iwo Jima or Okinawa, but within the Marine Corps, its lessons endure. The battle force changes in doctrine, mental health awareness, and enemy analysis. It proved that underestimating the enemy was as deadly as enemy fire. For the men who fought there, Peleliu was not forgotten, even if history tried to move on. And that is why this battle still matters. Because remembering Peleliu means honoring the Marines who endured hell and ensuring their sacrifice was not meaningless.